In the long and patient history of the universe, most things happen slowly. Stars form over millions of years, planets orbit quietly, and galaxies drift like cosmic snowflakes. But every once in a while, nature seems to sprint instead of stroll. Between September 23rd and 25th, 2025, something extraordinary happened. In just 72 hours, our universe seemed to push all of its buttons at once. 2 stars exploded into bright novas visible to the naked eye. The ground in Venezuela shook violently with twin magnitude 6 earthquakes. And as if that wasn't enough, the sun then hurled a coronal mass ejection directly toward a rare visitor, the interstellar comet 3I Atlas. Scientists now call this period the 72-hour stack. And by anyone's standards, it was one of the strangest, most statistically impossible alignments of cosmic and seismic events ever recorded. To put this into perspective, imagine flipping a coin and getting heads 10 times in a row. Now, multiply that improbability several thousand times. That's how rare this combination of events was. Some scientists estimated the chance at less than 1 in 1,000. Others said that even that was generous. But let's rewind time. Let's go back to those 3 days to see how the heavens, the earth, and everything in between seemed to conspire for one breathtaking weekend in September of 2025. It began quietly, just after midnight Universal Time. On September 23rd, 2025, a faint, unremarkable point of light in the constellation Centaurus suddenly brightened until it could be seen with the naked eye. This was nova V1935 Centauri, an eruption so powerful that it could be spotted without a telescope, even from a dark field under the southern hemisphere sky. For those not fluent in starspeak, a nova is what happens when a white dwarf starts stealing gas from a nearby companion. When V1935 Centauri erupted, observatories in Chile and South Africa caught it almost immediately. Within minutes, alerts were flying through astronomical networks. Gabriela Moya, an amateur observer from Valparaiso, Chile, was the first to report the nova officially. She hadn't slept in 2 days, scanning the skies despite cloudy weather and power cuts. But when she spotted that sudden, sharp gleam, she knew that this was no ordinary flicker. It was history, unfolding in real time. By dawn in Europe, the story had already spread across global news feeds. A naked-eye nova had appeared for the first time in years. The first piece of the 72-hour puzzle had fallen into place. The second act came not from the heavens, but from beneath our feet. Less than 40 hours later, the ground in western Venezuela began to rumble. At 6:21 p.m. local time on September 24th, a magnitude 6.2 earthquake struck near Mena Grande. Now for context, a magnitude 6 quake releases energy roughly equivalent to 10 to 20 kilotons of TNT. That's about the energy of the Hiroshima bomb. And it wasn't a deep quake either. The epicenter was just 7.8 kilometers beneath the surface, shallow enough for its full force to reach homes, hospitals, and streets up above. Residents were finishing dinner when the first tremor hit. Windows shattered, lights flickered, and in the local hospital, medical staff scrambled to move patients outside as walls cracked. But just as they were catching their breath, 5 hours later, the Earth struck again. A second quake, magnitude 6.3, this time at a depth of 14 kilometers. Imagine running from one wave, only to see another rising behind it. That's how it felt in Mena Grande that night. The aftershocks came next, a rolling sequence of smaller quakes. One even reached magnitude 5.8. Seismologists studying the event later confirmed that the quakes weren't random. They were part of a stress transfer pattern, a geological domino effect. The first quake shifted pressure along a fault line, which then triggered the second. It followed a known principle called Amore's law, where the biggest shocks come first, followed by the smaller tremors. Even so, the timing, 2 major quakes in under 6 hours, was uncanny. Normally, Venezuela might see a quake of that magnitude once every 2 or 3 years. Getting 2 in a single evening was like lightning striking the same tree twice. And remember, this was happening while the stars were still flaring up above. Now, if the first nova and the Venezuelan quakes weren't strange enough, the universe wasn't finished yet. On September 25th, a day after the second quake, the sun hurled a coronal mass ejection, or CME, right through the inner solar system. A CME is not just solar wind. It is a massive cloud of charged particles blasted from the sun's surface at speeds of up to 2 million kilometers per hour. When one of these waves hits Earth, it can mess with satellites, cause auroras, and even disrupt power grids. But this one had a different target, an interstellar comet named 3I Atlas. Now, let's pause to appreciate how rare that is. 3I Atlas is only the third confirmed interstellar object ever observed, meaning that it didn't come from our solar system at all. It's a visitor from another star system, moving so fast that it might never return. Now, most comets are like local tourists from our Oort cloud, but this one was a true alien, racing at 60 kilometers per second. That's fast enough to circle the Earth in just 11 minutes. As it passed through the solar system, its orbit took it within 0.19 of an astronomical unit of Mars. That's about 28 million kilometers, roughly the same distance as 36 trips to the moon and back. And just as it entered the inner solar system, the sun's CME collided with it. The timing was astonishing. Scientists tracking both the comet and the solar activity estimated that the probability of such an overlap is less than 1 in 1,000. One astrophysicist joked that the odds were so small that you'd have better luck winning 5 lotteries on the same day. But there it was, one of the rarest types of cosmic objects intersecting directly with one of the most energetic solar phenomena. Now, statisticians have a term for this kind of thing: Poisson clustering. It's when random events happen close together by pure chance, even though each one is individually rare. What makes the 72-hour stack so remarkable isn't just its numbers or its timing. It's how it bridges 3 realms of nature that rarely meet: the cosmic, the terrestrial, and the interstellar. Solar physicists have also pointed out that the sun's activity during this period was unusually high. Sunspot numbers had soared to 165, and the solar radio flux, which is a measure of the sun's energy output, was holding above 180. This was the height of solar cycle 25, a natural phase where the sun becomes more active and unpredictable. As 3I Atlas cut across this environment, it became a natural probe, a cosmic experiment showing how interstellar materials react to our solar weather. Scientists called it a once-in-a-generation event, because we've seen CMEs hit regular comets before, but never an interstellar one. When the dust settled, what remained was a stack of data, thousands of gigabytes of it. Seismologists mapped Venezuela's fault lines in greater detail than ever before. Astronomers analyzed gamma-ray data to understand how novas produce high-energy particles. And heliophysicists used 3I Atlas's close call to refine solar wind models. For skywatchers, the events of those days lit a spark of curiosity. Amateur astronomers joined professional networks, logging observations of comets and novas. Some even caught faint traces of Comet Swan, also known as C2025R2, later that October, a bonus celestial guest that added to the spectacle. Every observation, every sketch, every photograph became part of a growing archive of citizen science. So, what are we left with? 3 days, 4 major natural events, and a probability so small that it almost defies reason. Some saw it as coincidence, others as a wake-up call to how much we still don't understand about the natural rhythms of our planet and the cosmos. But perhaps the most striking takeaway is this: the universe doesn't play favorites. It doesn't slow down or speed up for us. Sometimes it hums quietly for centuries. And sometimes, like those 72 hours in 2025, it hits us with a crescendo of light, motion, and energy that reminds us just how alive it really is. The odds may have been less than 1 in 1,000, but it happened. It's proof that even in the most familiar universe, there is still room for astonishment. Thanks for watching, everybody. For more insights about 3i Atlas, make sure to check out our last video by clicking on the video icon on your screen right now. Also, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to share this video with your friends who are enthusiastic about space.